Hello friends, and welcome to the Forgotten Past. On this channel, you'll explore untold stories, lost events, ancient discoveries, and hidden secrets from across history. Let's view the video. Top 5 Deadliest Civil Wars in History. 1. Chinese Civil War, 1927–1949. The Chinese Civil War was one of the deadliest internal conflicts in human history, erupting between the nationalists and communists. It was a long, complex war rooted in ideological, political, and social divisions that intensified after the fall of the Qing dynasty in 1912. Initially allied during the Northern Expedition to unify China, the Kuomintang and Chinese Communist Party quickly turned into bitter enemies. The first phase of civil conflict began in 1927, ending in temporary truce during the war against Japan in the 1930s. The Communists were driven into the countryside after urban defeats, retreating on the epic Long March in 1934–35. Despite massive losses, they survived, regrouped, and gained rural support, especially among peasants frustrated by inequality and government corruption. World War II halted direct civil war as both factions turned to resist Japanese invasion. Yet mistrust ran deep. After Japan's defeat in 1945, full-scale conflict resumed with both sides eager to control post-war China and its destiny. The US supported the nationalists, while the Soviet Union gave strategic aid to the communists. However, corruption and low morale plagued the Kuomintang, while the communists grew more disciplined and adept in guerrilla and conventional warfare. By 1949, Mao Zedong proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China as nationalist forces retreated to Taiwan. The communist victory fundamentally reshaped Chinese society and geopolitics, marking the dawn of communist rule in the East. The war's death toll, estimated at 8 to 12 million, includes widespread civilian suffering, famine, and repression. Its legacy still shapes global tensions, particularly in relations between mainland China and Taiwan, both of whom claim legitimacy over China. 2. Russian Civil War, 1917–1923. The Russian Civil War was a bloody aftermath of the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution, pitting the Red Army of the Communists against the White Army of monarchists, liberals, and various opposition groups seeking to undo or modify the revolution's outcome. The collapse of the Russian Empire during World War I led to unrest, hunger, and revolution. The Bolsheviks seized power promising land, bread, and peace, but soon found themselves under siege from every side by those opposing their radical agenda. The Whites, loosely unified but ideologically diverse, received support from foreign powers like Britain, France, Japan, and the United States. Yet lack of coordination and brutality toward civilians undermined their cause and alienated local populations. In contrast, the Red Army, under Leon Trotsky's ruthless leadership, organized a disciplined force, controlled railways, and wielded propaganda effectively. They gained support from peasants and workers disillusioned by imperial rule and white reprisals. Entire regions fell into chaos as ethnic minorities declared independence, anarchist movements emerged, and rural uprisings erupted. The brutal fighting devastated the Russian countryside, displacing millions and collapsing the economy. In 1918, Tsar Nicholas II and his family were executed by Bolsheviks, sealing the break with the imperial past. This act further polarized the war and fueled international outrage. The war ended in 1923 with a Red victory. The Soviet Union was officially established in 1922, but peace came at a horrendous human cost, with millions dead from violence, starvation, and disease. Its legacy remains profound, cementing communist dictatorship in Russia, setting the stage for Stalin's rise, and fostering decades of Cold War confrontation with the West. 3. American Civil War, 1861–1865. The American Civil War was the bloodiest conflict in U.S. history, rooted in a profound divide over slavery, states' rights, and national identity. 11 Southern states seceded after Abraham Lincoln's election, forming the Confederate States of America. The Union, led by President Lincoln, fought to preserve the nation. The Confederacy, under Jefferson Davis, sought independence to protect slavery and state sovereignty. The war began with the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter in April 1861. Despite initial Southern victories, the North's industrial strength, manpower, and railroad network gave it long-term advantages. Battles like Antietam and Gettysburg turned the tide in favor of the Union. Lincoln's 1863 Emancipation Proclamation transformed the war into a moral crusade to end slavery. It also prevented European powers from supporting the Confederacy, reshaping international perceptions of the conflict. By 1865, Union General Ulysses S. Grant forced the surrender of Confederate General Robert East Lee at Appomattox Courthouse. The war claimed over 600,000 lives and left the South in ruins. Slavery was formally abolished through the 13th Amendment. However, the period of Reconstruction that followed brought political instability, racial violence, and deep resentment in the South. The Civil War's legacy endures in American politics, race relations, and national consciousness. Monuments, textbooks, and debates still reflect the trauma and heroism of this pivotal era. 4. Nigerian Civil War, 1967–1970. The Nigerian Civil War, also called the Biafran War, erupted after the southeastern Igbo-dominated region of Nigeria declared independence as the Republic of Biafra. The war resulted in one of the worst humanitarian disasters of the 20th century. Ethnic tensions, sparked by military coups, targeted killings of Igbos in the north, and economic marginalization, led to the secession. Colonel Odumegwu Ojukwu led Biafra's fight for independence in 1967. The Nigerian federal government responded with full military force. Despite initial Biafran resistance, the blockade strategy isolated the region and led to severe famine, particularly affecting children. The conflict drew international attention. Images of malnourished children shocked the world. France supported Biafra diplomatically, while the UK and USSR backed the Nigerian government with arms. Despite desperation, Biafra held out for nearly 3 years through guerrilla tactics and strong cultural morale. However, by 1970, Biafra was defeated and reintegrated into Nigeria. The estimated death toll reached up to 3 million, mostly civilians who perished from starvation, disease, and lack of medical care due to the blockade. The war left lasting scars on Nigerian society, deepening ethnic rifts and shaping political power structures. Its memory still influences Nigeria's fragile unity and debates over federalism and marginalization. 5. Spanish Civil War, 1936–1939. The Spanish Civil War was a brutal and ideological conflict between the elected Republican government and nationalist rebels led by General Francisco Franco. It became a testing ground for fascism and communism before World War II. The Republicans included leftists, communists, anarchists, and liberals. The nationalists were backed by conservatives, monarchists, and fascists. Spain became a proxy battlefield for Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, and the Soviet Union. International brigades from around the world, including Americans and Europeans, joined the Republicans in an anti-fascist crusade. Despite their passion, they were poorly equipped compared to Franco's German-backed forces. Franco's forces conducted brutal campaigns including the infamous bombing of Guernica in 1937, immortalized by Picasso's artwork. It symbolized the horrors of modern warfare targeting civilians. After years of resistance, the Republic fell in 1939. Franco declared victory and established a dictatorship that lasted until his death in 1975, suppressing opposition and banning regional identities. Approximately 500,000 to 1 million people died, including political executions during and after the war. The trauma of fratricide left generational wounds still visible in Spanish memory today. The Spanish Civil War remains a haunting precursor to global conflict. It revealed the dangers of extremism, foreign interference, and ideological polarization, a history increasingly echoed in today's world. Thanks for watching The Forgotten Past. If you enjoyed the journey, like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a hidden story or untold truth. New discoveries await. See you in the next video.